Hi there. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent Training. Welcome to our Saturday live question and answer class. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time, and I'll answer them for you. At the beginning today, we're going to talk about these words that start with the k sound and end with the ul sound, looking at the different vowels and how we spell and pronounce these words. So first of all, the word call has the ah vowel. You can see that here with this symbol. That's the IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet. And call is difficult for a lot of people because that all is a tough combination. It has the dark L. I'm moving from a rounded sound. The ah is rounded. My jaw is pretty open through kind of a central schwa sound that sounds like to my lifted tongue at the end, all. You can start with, sometimes it's easier to do all and then call. The tongue has to be lifted for that K sound as well. You can get more help for all of these vowels and the dark L in our Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com. It's going to walk you through sounds, combinations of sounds, spelling, and accent error patterns to watch out for. So it's a great base fundamental pronunciation course to help you be confident pronouncing any word you want in American English and understanding the sounds of English. Check it out on speechmodification.com on our courses page. After call, we have the oo, cool, the oo sound. Again, this one, thinking about breaking it almost into two parts. So it's a one-syllable word, cool, but because of that oo transitioning to the dark L, the ooh, we end up with a little bit of a gliding w sound to connect those two. So vowel to vowel linking, going from a rounded oo to an unrounded ul before the dark L, means that my mouth is naturally going to make that glide. Ooh, cool. So that can help you sometimes to hear how this word sounds, to slow it down, put in all of that gliding sound between those vowels. Excuse me, just one moment. Again, building from the back, ul, wool, ool, cool may be helpful for you. Then when it comes to kale, this letter A says the diphthong A. That's a typical spelling where if we have a silent E at the end, then the letter will say its name. This is true for tail, sail, kale. And now I'm moving from the A to the sound, ale, ale. There's going to be a little bit of a glide there. So I've rewritten that A with AY because Y is what we associate with that gliding sound. And so I would write kale, ale. So you can think about this connecting those two sounds. In the dictionary for these, you're not going to see these glides for the vowels. You'll just see it as kale. And I think that thinking about it as kale with a schwa and a y sound in there might be helpful if you're used to reading the IPA. Then when we go to kill, we have the I vowel. And we don't really need much of a glide there, kill. We're just lifting from that front I into the L. Excuse me. Coal, we go back to the rounded sound. So we have our O and then our glide. Coal, coal. And finally, keel, that's the highest front vowel. And again, typically we spell that E vowel with two E's. No glide necessary there because we're just moving from the E to the O, not a lot of change. Excuse me, I haven't used my voice yet very much this morning, I guess. All right, so one last tip on this. What I would use is another word with the vowel sound to match. Because when I'm trying to move from call to kill to keel, they may sound very similar to me if I struggle with those differences, those small differences between the vowels. So, for example, I might try we all call, or I caught a call. It's too cool. It'll be cool soon. I had a kale fail. I need to say kale. It kills or kill it. No coal or or coal goes. And then we keel or see keel. So that way you can count on a word where maybe that vowel is a little easier to say, and then try to use that same vowel together with that dark L. So building up your skills, a lot of people struggle with the L at the ends of words. They may not close it properly. It may sound a little bit distorted, like, oh, they're doing too much of the vowel part of it and not the finishing of the L part of it. One other strategy for words ending with L is to link it to the next word. So if I'm doing, for example, call, I would say call in. That L at the beginning or connecting may be easier than if I have to say call in, etc. So that's an example for you. Okay, thank you for your patience as I covered that. I see that there are some of you here with some questions, so we'll turn to your questions now. If you have a question, feel free to type it at any time in the chat if you're here with me live. If you're watching this as a rebroadcast, you can put your questions in the comments, and I'll direct you to resources that may help you, as well as I can add your words to my list to cover in a future Word of the Day class. Hi, Eddie. Nice to see you. We have a question about the words aspirin, cotton, and buffer. Okay, so first of all, aspirin. I would say that this word looks like it should be 3 syllables, like aspirin, and you can say it slowly with those 3 syllables, but we tend to leave out the vowel in the middle syllable and just say it more like aspirin. It has vowel a, first syllable stress. Letter S says the S sound in this word. And then we have, if anything here, it's going to be a little I sound or maybe no I sound there. And then another I sound at the end. Aspirin or aspirin. I think more people typically leave that middle syllable out. Aspirin, prin. You can build it from the back, trying rin, prin, aspirin. Then you also asked about cotton. I do have a video for the word cotton. Cotton. What we do there is what's called a stopped T and a syllabic N. So again, I'm not really saying cotton, no puff of air for that T, and I'm not saying really that much of a vowel for that letter O there. I'm saying more of a syllabic N there. So it sounds like ka, and then you lift your tongue for the T, cotton, cotton. And then I'll come back to, well, I'll go ahead and cover buffer. If you're asking for multiple things, if there's a lot of other people asking questions, I may cover the first thing that you ask and then come back if there's time for the others. So for buffer, we have again a vowel schwa, a stress schwa this time, and the ending. So it sounds just the same as as it's spelled. There's really no spelling change I would make there. Trying buffer. Okay, great. Thank you for those requests. Eddie would like to know Google Assistant's. He says that when he uses Google Assistant, it understands cold instead of call. So back to our earlier discussion, cold is like the coal plus a D. So for typical speech, if I'm saying cold, I'm not necessarily going to do a strong D there. And when you're listening to native speakers, they might say, it's cold out, or I have a cold. When I say it by itself, you won't hear I have a cold. You hear I have a cold. And that's because we don't really release stop sounds like D at the ends of words. But if you are linking it, if I did say cold out, then you would hear that D, cold out. When you're using it for Google Assistant, so you're probably saying call and then a name. So you're going to want to, instead of going for that rounded, it is rounded on caw all. If yours is sounding like oh, co, you have to open the mouth a little more. So cold, caw, called. Try to open up. Think of it almost as an ah rather than an ah. You're probably doing too much rounding if the Google assistant is hearing more of an o sound. So you're probably not saying a D, but the assistant is hearing more of that O vowel instead of that ah or ah vowel. Just go for more of an ah, and then you should have luck with it understanding you better, I hope. That's a good question. I actually have been thinking about making a series for using things like Siri, Google Assistant, Alexa, because many people, even native speakers, have to make some adjustments to be well understood, because speech recognition has improved significantly in telling what we are saying. It's not always so great on if you're trying to use it to correct your pronunciation, but we sometimes have to exaggerate some details for it to know, especially if we're just using a 2-word command, for example, it may not always get it. And I certainly have errors when I'm using speech recognition for my phone. It doesn't always get my sounds correct. So it's not necessarily about whether or not you're a native speaker. It's more about how it can recognize. But it is a good way to test if you're getting closer on certain sounds or words. Okay. Question about how to pronounce stuffed animal. So for stuffed animal, I do have a video for animal. A lot of people struggle with that one just because of that L sound at the end. Stuffed is an example where, because stuff ends with f, a voiceless sound, the ED is going to say T in this word, stuffed. So I would rewrite it like stuffed. Stuffed. Sorry, that wasn't very clear. You could write it with 2 Fs or 1 F. It doesn't matter too much. Stuffed. Stuffed animal. But because we tend to link stuffed animal, I'm not going to say stuff. If I say stuffed by itself, my T will have more air. If I'm linking it to the A of animal, stuffed animal, it's going to turn back into a flap and sound a little bit like a light, quick D, stuffed animal. In this phrase, stuffed animal, we have a little stress on stuffed, and then the main stress is going to be on the A of animal. Animal, that's the tough part, I would say, thinking about it like a, and then mole, almost no vowel between the M and the L. So I often hear more animal, where people are trying to do more of an E with this and an ah with this, and you want really reduced, almost no vowel for those unstressed syllables of animal. So lengthening here, animal, you can hear it's a very reduced vowel, stuffed animal. That's a great question. Definitely challenging, particularly because of that word animal. Okay, we have a question about linking and reduction. Eddie would like to hear, I'll appreciate it, I appreciate it. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I'll appreciate it, linking the L to the of appreciate, I'll appreciate it. And then linking the T to the it sounds again like a flap, just like stuffed animal. Appreciate it, appreciate it. I appreciate it. When I'm going from I to the of appreciate, you're going to hear a little gliding there. I appreciate it. It'll sound kind of like I appreciate it. And then again, appreciate it, flap T at the end of appreciate. Lastly, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Not really much linking going on there. When we get there. Yeah, get there, I have to just make a stop T and release into the TH. We can cover your phrases in a little more detail in our members class tomorrow, Eddie, if that's useful for you, if I didn't give you enough information here. So Eddie is one of our channel members. We have a class like this. That's a smaller group on Sundays that covers members' questions from throughout the week. They can attend live and ask their questions, or they can leave comments and questions at any point on any video throughout the week and have their answers within 1 week. So you can, after class, click the join button if you're interested in supporting speech modification and becoming a channel member. That's one of the perks that we offer, is an additional class like this that's a little bit more tailored to your specific needs. Okay, we have a question about the word Neosporin. So for this brand name, Neosporin, the stress is on the spore syllable, and I would build from that or. So trying or, pour, spore, sporin. And then for the neo, there's a little bit of secondary stress there. It sounds like an E and an O, Neosporin. So thinking about that like Neosporin. Neosporin. And that's a antibiotic ointment that you can put on a wound to help it heal faster. Yeah, good question, Neosporin. Oh, no O here, misspelling, Neosporin. Okay, we have a question about mounting pressure. So the question is whether or not mounting can be used in other constructs like mounting. So mounting pressure, we wouldn't use mounting flooding, mounting warming. We would use mounting inflation. So I think the difference may be that like in flooding or warming, those are, I think, what's called gerunds. They end with ing. So we can't use that adverb mounting with them, but for, or adjective mounting, because we don't have the ing twice. So mounting inflation, yes. Mounting pressure, yes. Mounting stress, maybe. But it's something that's building up ahead of time. And then the you could say the mounting results of climate change, but it's somewhat limited in how we use that. Great. We have a question about how to pronounce the word Muslim. So in American English, Muslim has first syllable stress. Letter S says the Z sound. Letter U says the schwa sound. Muslim. And then LIM says the relaxed I sound, or the lax I sound, not relaxed. In British English, they may say Muslim or Muslim with an S sound. And of course, in different dialects of English, it's going to sound different. So just in American English, you want to think about it like Muslim. Yeah, so that's the answer for American English. You will often hear that with an oo or an s sound, because I think in other languages it doesn't have that schwa. Good question. Thank you. Okay, we have a question about electric chair, electric. So I do have a video for electric. Electric has stress on the lek, so that's going to have an eh sound, electric. That K doesn't get released, so I don't say elect, I say electric, and the T goes on the next syllable, electric. And then the first vowel, is going to be an eh sound, or an I sound, or even a schwa sound. Basically, it's going to be a reduced vowel. So I don't want electric, but rather electric. If I'm thinking of it as the red tent vowel, or the I vowel, or the vowel, all of those are okay. I would recommend thinking about it like a schwa, electric, just like that. And then chair has the CH sound, the A and the air vowel. So thinking about it with a clear A sound. There's no different way to spell it that makes sense. Just build it from air if it gives you trouble. Air, chair. Yeah. Great question. Thank you. We have a question about behind the scenes. Yes. Okay. So this goes along the same as what we were talking about with electric. That behind is stressed on the hind sound, syllable, excuse me. So this first syllable, if I'm just looking at this word and saying it by itself, I might say behind because my mind is influenced by the spelling of the letters BE to say more of an E sound. In connected speech, though, we're going to eat. It's typically in the dictionary with an I sound. It's a reduced vowel. Again, oftentimes words like between, behind, you'll hear people say them with a schwa or with an I sound. If I just say the word by itself, again, I might say between, but you can hear how if I use that in connected speech, I'm between two jobs. It doesn't really sound very natural. Between, behind, below. When I'm talking in fluent speech, you want to go with that reduced vowel there. Otherwise, it changes the rhythm of the word as well as the pronunciation of the word. So you will sometimes hear native speakers mixing these vowels a little bit. And if you just asked them, what is the vowel in behind, they would say, oh, it's B, because they don't really realize, you hear how I just said because, they don't really realize necessarily that because of the rhythm of the word, they're using a reduced vowel there in natural speech. At any rate, yeah, so you'll sometimes hear both, but you want to aim for to sound natural and fluent to use that reduced I or vowel on those words. I do have several videos talking about this. Excuse me. So if you search on behind or below or between on my channel page, in the search box there, right on the channel, you'll find that video. Or if you leave a comment for me later on in this video, I can give you a link for that as well. That's a great question. Thank you so much. Okay. We have a question about the words months and clothes, and they're very hard. Yes. So the THs tend to give people trouble. And then when you have to add another consonant to your TH, it's even harder. For months, this is a voiceless TH sound followed by an S sound. Then it's also a schwa there, but I'm sure that part is not the difficulty for you. Although thinking about it, like letter U might be helpful because, again, that letter O can make us think it's more like ma, something more open. Month. So what I would say is just build this slowly. So trying month. So just get used to doing that nth, month, and then months. To do the TH plus the S, you just have to pull the tongue back a little bit. So th is between the teeth, s is just behind the teeth. Months. Th. You can try just doing those sounds by themselves as well. Not easy, but you can get it with practice. And then for clothes, this one, I would say most native speakers don't always say clothes. So it's a voiced TH, sound and a Z sound. This O does say O, so clothes. What you want to do here is what most native speakers do is first just work on saying it like the word clothes with a Z sound. Clothes. So most people will say my clothes. My clothes are in the laundry. My clothes are in the closet. You can, and it is correct to say clothes, but that th is very short. It's not very audible, and it doesn't sound in natural speech all that different from clothes. So here you can hear me say it both ways. My clothes are in the closet. My clothes are in the closet. I use this one most of the time, unless I, for some reason, was saying the word by itself, clothes. I might do the th. It's the same strategy you have for the th of months, where the tongue is between the teeth and then back. It's just that the th and the z are voiced. My vocal folds are vibrating, versus in months, there's no voicing there. But best advice I can give you is just use a Z sound, close. I need to buy some new clothes. Because that's what most native speakers do, because that's such a tough combination, even for people whose first language is English. Great questions. Thank you so much. Okay, we have a question about the word coincidence. Let's go to your word. So coincidence has the stress on the in. So it can be helpful to work on just incidents by itself first. Incidents, coincidence. So stressing on the in, that means that this is a reduced vowel, coincis or sa. It's probably going to be in the dictionary as an I, but you might think of it as an sound, like a schwa. And then almost no vowel here in the dense syllable. Go right to the NS sound. And then the O is a true O. You're not going to see it in the IPA, but there's going to be a little glide in there. So it's going to sound kind of like coincidence. It's quite a coincidence. I do believe I have a video for coincidence. The last few classes, I haven't gone back to add timestamps and links for additional videos, but I will try to get back to doing that. So typically on our live streams, if you come back and take a look, if there's more details I have for you on your particular word or question, I can link you to another video as well. You can also use the search on the channel page. There is a search box if you're on your laptop. I'm not sure it works on your phone. I think if you use a YouTube search on your phone, it will show you every video from everyone about coincidence. If you want to find mine from speech modification, you could type speech modification and then your word, or you can go on your browser on a computer, and on my page there, that search box is for my particular videos. Or it might be easier for you. You can leave a comment on any of my videos and I'll give you the link myself. Great. Okay. We have a question about how to pronounce Thai, as in Thai food or Thai culture, Thai language. It's just like the same as this word, Thai. So it has the I diphthong, like in the word I, which we write this way. So just thinking about it like I. It rhymes with hi, or my Thai, hi Thai. Yes. The spelling doesn't always help us, but this I is a good representation of that I diphthong. Good. We have a question about oughtn't. So I would say we oughtn't use the word oughtn't because it's kind of old-fashioned. So you might read that, but native speakers don't really, at least in America, say that very much. Maybe in British English, they might be more likely to use oughtn't. I oughtn't to do it. We would use shouldn't more likely, but just for your knowledge, oughtn't, it's the same as the in caught or thought. And then the oughtn't, we would just do the stop T with the N and the other stop T, like in important. So you can check out my video for that, for a little more help on that pattern. Okay, we're running short on time. I'm going to take a few more quick questions and requests, and then we'll need to wrap up for today. If you'd like to make sure that you get your questions answered, you can join as a channel member and then join our Sunday classes, or leave your questions at any time and I'll cover them for you each week on Sundays. You can always come back again next week or leave me a comment with your question as a request on any video. So thank you so much for all the wonderful questions and comments today. I'll take a brief look at a couple of remaining ones and then we'll wrap up. We have a question about when we're going to say I loved it, we don't pronounce the D and we just say I love it. Is that right? No. If you're trying to say I loved it, You do pronounce the D, you just can link it. So you need to be able to hear, if I say I love it, then I'm going to hear my V sound, love it, I loved it. You're going to hear the D sound because that links. So you don't want to leave the D out. If I'm saying I loved Sam, I loved Sam, I loved Sam, you may hear that stop D isn't audible. I don't say I loved Sam, but I still mark it with a stopping of the air. So I loved him, I loved it, I loved her, I loved that, loved that. That's where you're going to maybe hear, it sounds like that D is dropping. But if I say, I love that, you can hear the V can continue versus I love that, love. I'm not letting the D out. I'm not doing loved that, loved that. I'm stopping the D, but the V is going to be very short. So I love that, I love that. It's subtle, but if you check out our video on how to do stopped sounds at the ends of words, also maybe our past tense linking videos might be helpful for you on that idea. It's definitely something that is useful to start listening for and to know how we do it, because you don't want to sound like you're saying a mistake. I love that it sounds like you're leaving the past tense out. If you were trying to say, I loved that. Just there, I said it, loved that, really clearly with a break, but naturally in speech, we use that stop D before a consonant sound. Great. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm sorry I didn't have time for everybody's questions today, but it was a wonderful class with really great questions. I'll take a look at those of you who asked things here at the end and I didn't get to them. I'll take a quick look and leave you a comment if there's a video that I can help you with. And as I mentioned before, channel members will be back with tomorrow's class, and any questions that you've asked throughout the week, I'll cover them for you then. You don't have to attend live. You can watch the replay and still get answers to your questions. Thanks so much, everyone, for being a part of class today, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's class on Saturday morning. I'll be back again tomorrow with tomorrow's word of the day and Sunday's member class. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.